Well, thanks for hosting us here today, and thanks for the great instruction on the shooting range. I had a good day. But we're here to talk about, as you can see, something we call the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. And as Dr. Lieberman said, the premise of this is that Texas, like actually all other states, 49 other states, has a way for law-abiding citizens to get the instruction and to show their, once you leave Texas and go to another state, for you to be subject to a gotcha game, where, let's say you drive 2 hours to Louisiana, 2 hours to Oklahoma or Arkansas, and then be subject to a gotcha game because you don't happen to have that particular state's concealed handgun permit. Texas, I believe, has reciprocity with about 15 states on a two-way basis, but what this would do would be to work, as you heard, like a driver's license. So if you get a Texas driver's license, you can literally drive anywhere else in the country subject to the laws of those individual states. In other words, you can't go faster than the speed limit in those states, but you don't have to worry as a law-abiding citizen and a concealed handgun holder about forgetting and getting in trouble with having unnecessary legal fees and the like. This does respect state sovereignty, something we feel strongly about here in Texas. We don't want anybody else telling Texans what to do, and we don't presume to tell other states what to do. And as I said, other states have made the same decision we have for concealed handgun permits to allow these to be used. And so this really is a common sense piece of legislation, something that we should get done, and I hopefully can get done. But I particularly want to express my appreciation to Larry Smith, the sheriff, and Ben Cassidy from the NRA, Sean Healy, and Bill Titus for being here today and showing their support. And I'd like to turn the floor over to the Chief Law Enforcement Officer here in Smith
That's
County,
right.
Sheriff Smith, for any comments he wants to make. Sheriff?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Senator Cornyn, for introducing such a bill as this. A lot of people here, when I first ran for office, thought it was kind of strange the first time they saw me at Lock and Load speaking on behalf of firearms rights, since I retired after 24 years with ATF. But I learned a lot during those years, and I tell you, when Senator Cornyn's talking about the reciprocity and talking about the sovereignty of the states, the key words I look for in his bill was interstate and foreign commerce, and it's in there. They have every right to put this bill forward, and I appreciate you putting it forward for us, and we look forward to it hopefully passing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Ben?
Oh, thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for coming
Appreciate
down.
it. Yes, absolutely.
Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Lock and Load, for having us and hosting us. Thank you for your leadership on this issue and also being a great champion defender of the Second Amendment. NRA has been fighting the concealed carry fight for a long while. When the Institute for Legislative Action, where I work, was founded in 1975, there were only 6 states that had fair concealed carry laws on the books that only covered 6% of America. Today, all 50 states have some form of it, even Washington, D.C. I'm not trying to compare D.C. to Texas.
We're not comparable.
Yeah, exactly. Incomparable. But for comparison's sake, just last week, D.C. was bragging about having handed out 8 new permits to the residents. The far cry from Texas, where there's over 800,000 CHLs out there, and growing, as we saw today from a lesson. Texas was an early adopter. 20 years ago, 1995, adopted concealed carry. You know, every time concealed carries come up in state capitals, you always hear the critics saying terrible things are going to happen, there'll be blood in the streets, there'll be shootings everywhere. But every time those critics have been silenced and retreated, and the media's kind of turned away from it, because it's hard to deny the fact that law-abiding citizens, when they carry concealed, deter crime, and it shrinks, deter criminals. This is a great bill. It's been a great priority of ours, and no better leader to have on it than the senator, your senator. It'll mean that everyone that has, a CHL right now, right to self-defense, and your right to the pursuit of happiness. More than excited to be helping out and see this bill passed and signed into law. We'll do everything we can to help you out. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Sean?
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
I'm the Sean Healy, the General Counsel for the Texas State Rifle Association, which is the premier gun rights organization in Texas since 1919. We need somebody in Washington who has our backs, and it's good to know that Senator Cornyn has our backs, especially on this issue. How often is it that we hear about a bill being introduced that actually makes us more free? Well, our senators found it. So I applaud Senator Cornyn for introducing this law and carrying it forward, taking a leadership position on it. This law will protect law-abiding citizens from being arrested, charged, prosecuted, tried, convicted, and imprisoned for trying to keep themselves and their families safe when they travel. That's a great bill right there. This also would save lives. Even people in the other states that might have more restrictive gun laws, they'll be more safe because Texans will be traveling throughout the country with their guns. And so we applaud Senator Cornyn, and we're glad we have him watching our back in Washington, and we support this bill.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bill, thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Senator, we want to thank you on behalf of the Texas Concealed Handgun Association for this kind of legislation, which does exactly as my colleagues here have said. It creates a sense of freedom and protection for those of us who carry a firearm for our own protection and that of our families. I represent Texas Concealed Handgun Association, which is really focused on training and our abilities as individuals who carry a firearm. We seek to develop and provide the kind of training that people need who do choose to carry a gun. This affirms that in the sense that it brings all of the states into a level playing field. We know and understand that persons are going to be carrying under the laws of a different state when they travel, but that license will be valid. And we are very pleased to be able to stand with you and endorse this legislation and hope that it breezes through with not a question.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
Senator.
coming. Appreciate your support. Well, I'd be glad to answer a few questions, and of course we have some experts here if I get stumped. I guess I stand corrected. Jessica reminded me there are about 35 different state-to-state
For Texas, yeah.
reciprocity arrangements with Texas already. But of course, those are what you call bilateral, one state to one state. What this does, it opens it up to all 50 states that have concealed handgun permits, and makes it operate, as I said, like a driver's license. Anybody have any questions for us? Yes, sir.
Have you talked with Dan Patrick about this lately? And I don't know where he stands.
You know, I would be just shocked if he didn't support this wholeheartedly. The good news is the Texas legislature's already done their good work. Now we need to get the federal government to step up, and that's of course where this legislation would have to be passed.
Bill, we were wondering, we forgot to ask you, could you tell a little bit about your personal experience going state to state in your profession?
I've been a United Methodist minister for a little over 40 years, and during that time I have traveled for various meetings and conferences and boards that I serve on from coast to coast and north to south. Been in more than half of the states in the country. And at one point I had to carry 3 different concealed carry licenses for the states that I commonly went to. And that's kind of a crazy arrangement. This is what will solve that problem. So
I bet your congregation always pays close attention to you.
most of them are armed as well.
Anybody, any other questions?
Where do you see the resistance to this coming from?
You know, Dr. Lieberman, my experience has been when it comes to things like guns and Second Amendment rights, some of this is, some states, some people are just not as familiar with the training required to get a concealed handgun license, and as familiar as we are as Texans with the right to keep and bear arms. So I hope there won't be any resistance, but I know that for every good idea there's almost invariably some resistance in Washington, D.C. But I'd like to hear what their argument is, especially when each of their states have passed their own concealed handgun license permit. Why would they object to being able to travel from state to state in order to exercise that right? So it's going to be an interesting debate. I'm looking forward to it.
One last question. Did you know that Chris Ann Hall is going to be teaching Sheriff Smith on the Constitution and Second Amendment
Is that
in
right?
a couple weeks?
She's already taught me. I've already been.
Oh.
My command staff is going.
Oh, okay. So we're going to get.
Well, that's great.
So we're all doing
Well,
the Second Amendment.
I mean, the one reason we call this the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act is to make that point, is that we are a nation, and these laws that do protect us and our ability to carry a concealed handgun in our individual states should be respected nationwide. And so this is all about the Constitution.
I have another
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Okay, I do not have my CHL, so, but I'm wondering, as someone who doesn't have it, what is it like traveling without it? I mean, obviously you feel less safe, but is it just, are you uneasy, I guess? I'm just trying to get a
No,
feel of what it's like.
What are the benefits of getting your concealed handgun license in terms of your personal safety and your feeling of security?
The way that I teach, there are 4 basic levels of competence, and when you begin, you feel very awkward, but it develops into a level of safety, and then what we call the 4th and final stage, where you are unconsciously competent in your carry, and at that point, when I leave the house, if I don't have my gun in its holster, I feel like I've left my pants off or done something. So it becomes a thing that you learn and you grow into, provided you're taught adequately and you know the basic dynamics of safety.
Yeah, to me, it's the most important part of it is being adequately trained, right, to safely exercise your Second Amendment rights, and that's what Texas does, and that's what we're advocating, and taking the benefits of that nationwide.
I hate to hog all the questions, but is there any implication to on campus? You know, the school zones. I'm just worried about another shootout without anybody being protected.
You know, I know the Texas legislature is going to have some debates about Texas law. This doesn't touch any of those debates, and that's entirely up to the state legislature, Lieutenant Governor Patrick and Speaker Strauss and Governor Abbott. So this would not touch any of those. They can still do what they think is in the best interest of all Texans.
Thank you. I think we're
Thank
gonna
you.
get some pictures and.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it again.
Thank you.
So, I don't know many gun-toting ministers.
There are actually a lot more than
Thanks again, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sheriff, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna keep it over here to do a group photo if you don't mind.
If we can have you, Mr. Smith, obviously you and Senator Cornyn probably need to
Slide
be in
this
the
out of the way,
middle
guys, sorry.
with the height
We got the
differential
tall
and
guys
Sean
on the
to the right, and then Dr. Lieberman, we're gonna do it.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, sir.
Wow.
Tracy Wright.
So you got more ministers carrying than
And then you're gonna
than I
be to the
would've
left.
thought.
or to
Yes,
the
sir, a lot of them do.
right there.
All the bags.
Who will take.
That Hampton's church, I've never
You guys
felt
wouldn't
so
mind
safe.
looking here,
I'm
please?
done.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, shoot. There we go. And I'm gonna get out of the way and do one more over here as well, please. 1, 2, 3. Excellent.
Okay. Now, I don't know who has already had pictures. Dr. Lieberman, have you
Yeah.
had pictures of him?
Anyone that wants an individual photo,
Yes.
let's go ahead and do those here.
Why don't we start with the
With
sheriff,
the sheriff? Okay.
Sheriff.
and then we'll
Alright.
just,
Yep, we'll go from
we'll
there.
do the old grip and bear.
Looking here.
How many years have you been in?
Looking here. 1.
2.5 with DEA,
Thank you.
13 with Great County Sheriff's Office, and 2 here as sheriff. So 38 years.
Wow, thank you.
Bill, would you like to go ahead in there?
Thank you.
Looking here, please. Over here. 1,
Handshake
2,
feels like
3.
the gun in the way folks
Excellent.
know.
Great.
very
Thank you.
Carried one for a while.
Can we use your camera here?
Yeah, it's unusual. I've
Sure,
never
of
felt
course.
anybody's hand.
After he's done,
no, sir.
do you want one?
Thanks for
Like
coming
this
out.
point, maybe
Bill?
you.
Okay, looking here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take one more if you don't mind. Excellent.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
Bill,
it.
do you want one with your wife and Senator Cornyn?
Sure.
And I can take one with my
Sure, of course.
I'm broadcasting this live on
How are you? Oh. Nice to see you.
Ma'am, allow me to sit that down for you right over here.
Get you the link.
Yes,
Let's
please.
come on over here and get in the middle. That's, there we are.
Looking here first, please. 1, 2, 3.
Right here next.
And then over that camera.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, I will.
Sean, why don't you want to get your family in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Caitlin is a life member of the NRA,
Oh, you're kidding?
and my wife's a concealed handgun license.
Wow. And this one's studying for hers.
Right, she's
Yeah,
working.
Mason,
Work
she's
in
learning to do
progress.
this.
Looking here, please. 1, 2, 3. And then can you put your hands down by your side real quick, too? Perfect. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, one more. I think. I think this might be it. Oh, yes. Oh,
In the
yes.
display site.
Here, why don't you do it? I'm going to take one with mine, too, if you don't mind. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Did I hear you went to school with Schumer?
Yeah, my sister graduated with Chuck Schumer.
Schumer. We heard about it. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Although he's
Yeah.
look at every graduation. He was my congressman for my entire childhood.
He's a very hard
Ben,
working
you want to
guy.
get photos? We're going to do Ben's going to come up here with the NRA real quick.
Yeah.
Prove to them he was in Tyler, Texas.
All the way from DC today.
We already have Stanley's and Mercado's. That's right.
I've got a full tour.
Thank you.
One more quickly.
One more.
How you doing?
And then Bill, is this your son?
Yes.
This is Bill's son.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Looking here. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. That's perfect.
My guys want to get a shot.
Oh, yeah, sure. Come on, guys.
The team.
This is live.
How you doing? I'm good, thank you. Thanks again.
Senator, yes, sir.
Thanks for coming
You
out.
want me on this side?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, come on, Robert. Robert gave us some good directions in there on the shooting.
Thanks so much for joining us. You're
And I'd like one here too, if you guys don't mind, please. 1, 2, shoot. And there we go. Great. Thank you all.
Yes, thanks for letting us come by.
So we're done.
Your wife and I know you guys got one with
No, happy.
Kara.
We'll get a family photo.
Get a family
That's
one.
perfect.
That is one cute baby.
So are you with the senator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is live on YouTube.
Oh, great. Okay. Appreciate your being here.
Owners Association.
okay. Perfect.
Looking here. If you everyone look at me and we'll get her. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Look at that.
Good picture taker.
Excellent. Thank you guys. This turned out perfect.
That's cute.
Robert, I got to shoot him first.
She did. We got her to shoot her first handgun.
Yeah.
And
How'd you do?
perfect.
Really good, huh?
Amazing. We're gonna get her
Thank
target.
you, Robert. Thank you, Dr. Lieberman. Senator, we're going to do a quick one-on-one.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Yes, and then you can just hold out, set up your shot, and you just
So this is my first live broadcast to YouTube. Oh, is it? Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Can you believe that? Yeah, I'm on air. And the thing is that it'll be. I got a website that I'm going to link all these to. It's called Homeland Owners Association. HO.com.
between you and Senator Cruz on the nomination.
Because we're all supposed to be owners of the home. Each of us is supposed to
both of us
own
oppose
the homeland, right?
Loretta Lynch for Attorney General because basically she's going to be one of the chief cheerleaders for the president's unconstitutional executive action on immigration, among other things. You know, Eric Holder has been one of the worst attorney generals in American history because he's primarily been a politician masquerading as the chief law enforcement officer. And I worry that Loretta Lynch is, notwithstanding her good record as the U.S. attorney, will continue the tradition of Eric Holder by politicizing the Department of Justice.
So I understand Senator Cruz has a different way to handle this situation, and do you have something else that you want to do?
Oh, I think what you're referring to is the Senator Cruz, I think, is taking the position that we shouldn't have a vote on her nomination. until such time as somehow we deal with this executive action. I've just said that I don't think those should be coupled together. I'm happy to vote against her nomination, and we're going to continue to fight this executive action, this overreach. My hope is that the federal court in Brownsville, Texas, which is currently considering a 26-state lawsuit, will rule in our favor, because I think what the president's tried to do is simply beyond his authority under the Constitution.
Okay, and then last month it was announced a proposal which would allow college students and faculties to carry handguns on campus. Had enough support to go to the floor. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's an issue that's going to be decided not in Washington, but in Austin. And so I'm going to leave it to my friends in the state legislature to wrestle with that one. I'm sure they'll give it thoughtful consideration. As you can see, I fully support the right of law-abiding citizens to carry concealed handguns under current Texas law, and I can't imagine the legislature doing anything to impair that right going forward.
Do you think it would make campuses safer?
I don't know. I'm going to leave that to the state legislators, since the federal government tries to tell the states too much of what to do already.